In the course of a crazy few hours in December 2024, South Korea's then president tried to seize control from parliament, declaring martial law. But the politicians beat the soldiers to the floor of the National Assembly, some literally facing down the guns, others barricading the doors before voting down the declaration. A short time later, Yoon Suk Yeol withdrew his extraordinary measure and was on his way to impeachment, arrest and prosecution. Today, the former president arriving at court in Seoul for sentencing in just one of multiple trials.
Former President Yoon Suk Yeol has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for obstruction.
This trial centering on accusations he'd bypassed cabinet members, destroyed evidence and evaded arrest.
Today's guilty verdict is a decision that overly simplifies the boundary between the president's exercise of constitutional authority and criminal liability. If this reasoning stands, no future president will be able to make decisions in times of crisis, and acts of governance will always be at risk of being retroactively recast as crimes.
Today's sentencing relates in large part to Yoon's extraordinary efforts to resist being taken into custody for weeks after his impeachment. His own security staff eventually outmatched by thousands of police in January last year. Yoon's public reasoning for declaring martial law was that North Korean elements had infiltrated South Korea's opposition. For his opponents, it was simply an attempt to usurp South Korea's hard-won democracy, to bypass a National Assembly that was thwarting his budget, as well as a corruption investigation that implicated his wife. His actions, threatening to take the country back to the days of pre-1987 authoritarianism, brought hundreds of thousands to the streets in protest. There were also conservative counter-protests, both strands of opinion voiced in Seoul today.
Overall, when I look at President Yoon's actions, I honestly think that for me the sentence was a bit too lenient.
This verdict is truly heartbreaking because it means that fairness and common sense in the country has collapsed.
Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more step.
Yoon's sentencing represents a stunning fall from power for a president who was once a prosecutor. He himself had helped convict 2 former presidents for abusing their power. The most serious of his remaining trials involves the offence of leading an insurrection. Prosecutors this week asking for the death penalty. The verdict in that case is due next month.